Good evening, you're watching Estuary Evening News. Coming up, a century of Hull's Lord Mayor. That's just the icing on the cake. And someday their princess will come, but not today, for a charity in Hull. And I'll be talking to Susan Horney and Maureen Moody of the Women's Institute. Welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Hugh Richards. First of all, it's over to James Dunn for the news headlines.
Hello. Grimsby has one of the unhealthiest high streets in the country, according to figures published today. It's 7th from bottom on the Royal Society for Public Health's list, rating 70 of Britain's biggest high streets by the proportion of businesses that support or harm public health. Under the scoring system, bookmakers, payday lenders and fast food outlets were bad, while community halls and greengrocers were considered good. The Society is calling for the government to give councils more powers to stop high streets becoming unhealthy. They want to see councils able to consider the health impact of a business in planning, licensing and setting of business rates. One of the passengers killed in the German wings crash in the Alps was a 28-year-old student from Hull. He's been named as Paul Bramley, who was studying in Switzerland and thought to be travelling back to the UK via Dusseldorf after a short holiday in Barcelona. French authorities revealed today they believe the co-pilot crashed the plane deliberately. Veteran MPs from Grimsby and Louth sat in Parliament for the last time today. It was dissolved before the general election, which meant a goodbye speech from Labour's Austin Mitchell and Great Grimsby and Conservative Peter Tapsell for Louth and Horncastle. The Right Honourable Sir Tapsell is the father of the House, meaning he's the longest serving MP in the Chamber, serving continuously since 1966. He's the last MP to have sat in the House with Sir Winston Churchill. Mr Mitchell's served the people of Grimsby since 1977, but both are retiring. Wheelchair dancers are preparing for a Strictly inspired performance. Tomorrow, the Strictly Wheels performance group will showcase a routine at Hull City Hall. 9 of the service users will be performing at the event. Claire Champlin, a sports development officer who specialises in disabilities, explains how the group's training came about and why it's important for people with disabilities to take part in events like these.
We've had a lot of help from one of the local coaches or dance teachers that has been coming in regularly to do activities and the dancing, who's choreographed the actual dance routine for us all. Well, from watching the dance every week when we do the activity, the laughs and the smiles that you get from the faces says it all, and so allowing them to have some sort of participation in a big event like this on Friday, I think it's key to sort of the health and well-being of each individual.
That's all from me. Bye for now.
Baking has become immensely popular following the success of the Great British Bake Off on another television station, which is bigger, though not necessarily better than Estuary TV. So it seems natural that the centenary of the office of Lord Mayor of Hull is celebrated with lovely food. Dave Nunn can have his cake and eat it.
The 100th year of the position of Lord Mayor of Hull and Admiral of the Humber deserves a special celebration. And what better way to celebrate than a bake-off at Hull's Guildhall?
It's the Centenary Bake-Off Challenge. So as you can see, lots of people have entered their cakes for judging. We have Nancy and Phil. Nancy is the British Bake-Off champion and Phil is a judge in the National Cake Champions later on in the week in London. So they've come to judge our entries, and the schools, the colleges and staff, a lot of people have donated buns and cakes for selling to donate for the Lord Mayor's charity.
With special judge Nancy Birtwistle, champion of the Great British Bake Off, judging the entries, the competitors gave their best efforts to impress, and it certainly worked.
Standard. What can you say? It's tremendous, isn't it? And people have been really inventive with what they do. There's so much effort gone into it and a lot of hard work. You know, all the teachers, the school children, the staff members at the college and the college students have really worked hard.
The event did have a serious side, as all the proceeds of the event were given to good causes. The Lord Mayor's charities, which they choose to support, and they were all local charities.
Yes, all the funds today are going to, they're all local charities. They are the Teenage Cancer Unit down at Castle Hill, Matthew's Hub for young people with Asperger's autism, and that's on Ferrens Way, and the Women's Centre down at Preston Road in East Hull. All for good causes, wonderful causes, all local charities, and thank everybody for their support.
You're watching Estuary TV News. A little later, we take a look at another lovely dog of the week, and James Dunn will bring you all the sports news. I'm joined now by Susan Hawley and Maureen Moody, respectively chairwoman and vice chairwoman of the Humberside Federation of the Women's Institute. Welcome both.
Thank you.
You are not personally each 100 years old, but your Women's Institute is 100 years old this year.
That is correct. Yes, started in 1915 in Anglesey.
And why was it started in Anglesey? It seems like a very remote part of the country for such a fundamental fibre of British society.
I think that's where the lady that came over from Canada, who was a member of the WI in Canada, that's where she landed, and that's where she started the first WI.
And at 1915, obviously it was in the middle of the war. What was the contribution? What was the purpose of setting up the WI then?
It was to get the women to help with the food production, because obviously the men were fighting in the war. So women were needed to take the stage and produce food as part of feeding the country.
Obviously the role of the WI has developed somewhat since then, and maybe we'll talk about that a little later, but you do have a fairly impressive agenda of events coming up to mark this centenary, don't you?
We do.
Something going on tomorrow night, first of all. We better talk about that.
We've got a centenary quiz at Broughton Village Hall, and we have almost 100 members coming to take part, and the winner will be announced at our Federation Day in April, where they will receive a trophy.
And just remind me, where's Broughton?
North Links.
North Lincolnshire.
North Links.
Okay. And will that be a fiendishly difficult quiz?
Oh yes. We're called trustees, the people who run the Federation. So this year we've all set questions. In the past, the previous year's winning team has set the next year's questions. But this year we're allowing everybody to take part, you see. That would eliminate one WI, so everybody is going to take part.
It sounds very competitive. You have some event to mark the centenary going on every month until the actual centenary, which I think is in September, isn't it? So if you just take us through the summer, what other events are you planning? Maureen, you go the first one.
Well, in April we have our annual Federation Day, which we do every year, but obviously this year it's special. It's at the Outwood Academy in Scunthorpe, and we have two guest speakers. We have Janice Langley, who is the national chair, and we have Julie Peasgood, who is a local celebrity and an actress.
She is an old friend of Estuary TV, yes.
That's right, yes. We have a craft competition with an independent judge coming in to judge that, and we're launching our new banner for the Federation.
Yes, the banner, that sounds fascinating, Susan.
Yes, we have a headquarters in Brigg at a house, and in there hangs an old banner with old WIs named on it. Each WI has done a little contribution in embroidery or a photograph. This one, to celebrate the centenary, they've used all sorts of modern techniques of embroidery. It's been absolutely fascinating watching the selection of things come in. So that will be unveiled at the meeting by Janice.
Okay, wonderful. Sounds fascinating. May,
we have what have we
Your
got?
Federation.
Oh yes,
Denman
we
visit.
have. We have our Denman visit in May, going on the 29th to the 31st of May. We have a coach load of ladies going, and they have a selection of 7 courses to choose from WI pastry making, fitness and fun, painting like an Egyptian, a visit to Blenheim House.
Oh, Blenheim Palace, beautiful.
Yes, that would be lovely, and also a Gershwin and Porter musical course.
Oh, wonderful. Just tell me, what is Denham College? Not everybody will have heard of it.
Right, it's the WI's own college, and it was purchased in 1948 for £16,000, and that bought us a wonderful Georgian house and 100 acres of land. And obviously that was paid for by...
That was a good investment, wasn't it?
It was a good investment, yes. We had money from the Carnegie Trust, and every WI pledged to spend, to give a little money over a 2-year period to buy it. And we've sold off the land subsequently to be able to build new buildings for... we've got a wonderful teaching block, which was opened by the Queen, and we have lots and lots of lovely accommodation.
And so members of the WI can go and do all these wonderful courses that are typified by the ones you've just described, and it's residential?
Residential, they do day courses as well, and it is open to non-members also.
You can even get married there if you
Yes,
want
well,
to.
this
Well,
year
thank
they're
you
doing
very much.
marriages. Yes.
Nobody's asked me that on television before. And just to emphasise, there is a bar.
There is a bar.
Excellent.
Yes,
Okay, centenary
essential.
celebrations, moving a little further through forward to the summer. I think the big events are the national events in September. Susan, there's a
Yeah,
thing at
but
the Royal
before
Albert
that
Hall?
we have a royal garden party in June.
Well, wonderful.
Yes, 8,000 members are going to go. Every WI in the country has been asked to ballot one person to
And
go.
the Queen is a member of the WI, isn't she?
And yes, the Duchess of Cornwall is also a member of the WI, and she will be the royal personage at the garden party.
Oh, wonderful.
2 days after that is our national annual general meeting at the Albert Hall.
Now, that's quite a big event, isn't it? And has occasionally turned political. There are some quite serious causes that the WI gets involved in.
Yes.
I remember, I don't know, it must have been 10, 15 years ago, Tony Blair had a dreadfully rough time there.
He did. He did have a rough time. At that time, I was a member in Cheshire, and the national chairman came from Cheshire at that time, and I think she really told him off. I wasn't actually at the meeting, but some of our members were.
Okay.
And I think it was quite a memorable day.
Okay, well, that's, there are serious issues that
Yes.
the WI addresses. What are you campaigning on at the moment, Maureen? What's uppermost?
Well, the last year's one was organ donation, and it was encouraging WI members to speak to people about their wishes to have their organs donated, because what happens is people join the register, and if they die, their family are asked if they can donate their organs, and because they don't know that person's wishes, they very often say no.
Yes.
So we are campaigning to get that change, that people do actually talk about it.
Well, I mean, it's to talk about it, and of course the default position that you do give your organs away,
Yes.
unless you specifically say
That's
no.
right, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Please don't go away. We've got much more to talk about the centenary celebrations.
Thank you.
A charity operating in Hull aims to provide adults with learning disabilities with the skills and the care they need to get on in daily life. Now the charity has been recognised by the royal family, although the royal visit didn't go quite to plan, which rather disappointed Richard Morris.
A royal visit was unexpectedly cancelled yesterday thanks to an electrical fault with the Countess of Wessex's helicopter. However, that didn't stop the celebrations at a charity which has already been recognised by the royal family.
For us, it's an enormous privilege to have such an honour really when we received the letter. It has taken some time, it took about a year to come through, but once we received it, obviously from the board down to the management and in particular the trainees, it was great joy. It was quite a celebration.
The charity has been running for 30 years and there's no reason for that to stop anytime soon.
Hopefully another 30 plus, yeah, many more, and yeah, 30 years I'm stood here, hopefully maybe in another training centre providing more services.
I think it's a fantastic opportunity for the young people, for the trainees. The case has been around for a long time. As a junior officer in the council, I remember when it started, and it's just fantastic to see it grow and grow over the years. What they provide for young people is an opportunity to actually broaden their horizons, try different things. If it does lead to employment, that's fantastic. If it doesn't, they have still gained an interest and a skill and something that will be with them forever.
And of course now it's received this sort of royal seal of approval almost.
It has, and it's unfortunate it hasn't worked out today as we hoped it would, but it's still the people that have turned up to support Case, the fact that the royal family were interested in coming, I think says absolutely massive amount for what this charity has done.
I'm still with Susan Horney and Maureen Moody. Thank you both for staying. An awful lot going on with the Women's Institute Centenary this summer. We've been talking about the Royal Albert Hall. That's the big event. Now, what's going to be going on there? It's broadcast across the nation.
It is. It's being screened out to all around the nation. So those people not able to go to the actual Albert Hall, because obviously that's confined to about 5,000 people. So we're having a showing at Parkway Cinema in Cleethorpes. So we're hoping about 200 or so members are going to be there to share the event, because it's a live screening. And we're going to give them a piece of centenary cake and a glass of something fizzy.
Good.
Along with a cup of tea and a coffee.
Not lemonade, I hope.
No.
It wouldn't be the Women's Institute without some association with cake, would it?
No.
Well, they ran a competition for a centenary cake, and this is the recipe from the lady who won.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, this is very appropriate. The story we had a little about earlier about the Lord Mayor of Hull
That's
celebrating
right,
with
yes,
lots of cakes.
yes.
Yeah.
Cake is the best way to celebrate, well, second
Definitely.
after having something fizzy, I guess, as
Yeah.
well. There's a baton going around the country. It's rather like an Olympic torch, isn't there?
That's right. It started off in Anglesey, January 2014, and it's spending a week in every area, in every federation. We received the baton from East Yorkshire in May last year, so we kept it for a week. It went round all our WIs by various means, motorbike, car, walking.
Wonderful. Crossing
so
the Humber.
Crossed the Humber. The chairman of East Yorkshire brought it across the Humber on a rescue vessel. She was met by a fire engine who brought her to the rope walk at Barton, where we had a lovely day's celebration with lunch. And then to end the week, when we passed it on to Lincolnshire North, we had a very wet celebration
Right.
at Cleethorpes. But we
Right.
did ride on the little train,
Oh, fantastic.
waving our flags and singing.
That's brilliant. A rose as well. There's a special flower being...
Yes,
Can you commission a rose? I suppose that's what you do.
Yes, there's lots of items that have been produced as mementos, really, for the centenary year, and the rose is one of them. It's a yellow rose bush, and it's called Inspiration, and that was available to members to purchase through our WI Life magazine.
Now, how is the WI? How healthy is it? Is it thriving, full of members?
It is, yes. We have approximately 212,000 members at present time, and around 6,600 WIs.
And how's the Humber Federation? Is that healthy?
Yes, it is. We've got 42 WIs, so we're a smaller federation with about 1,300 members. And we're always looking to start new WIs. Our latest WIs were formed in Scorby and Bottisford. So they're thriving.
And one thinks perhaps one has a very unfair image of the WI being a, not necessarily with present company accepted, a youthful operation.
Oh,
Thank you, Hugh.
Are you managing to get in the younger women, as it were?
Yes, yes. Our biggest WI is in Waltham, and the president there, Holly, is 30. So we've got quite a few younger members. They do, we haven't got any in this federation, but universities have WIs. Workplaces have WIs.
And
we even have one in a prison.
you have WI behind bars.
Yes, and not the alcoholic bars.
No.
So it's Bronzefield Prison in Surrey, and apparently it's done great things for the women prisoners there. There are about 40 members, I think.
Well, we think, again, forgive the cliche knowledge, but that it's Jam and Jerusalem, and there's nothing wrong with either of those things,
No.
and it's taking your clothes off for calendars. That's
True.
what the WI is thought of
Yes.
as.
it is, yes.
Yes.
What and I hope all that's true. But what else do you do? What else does the WI achieve, and does it give to its members?
Well, we give everybody an opportunity to do whatever they want. There's lots of opportunities for people to join craft groups, reading groups, gardening, anything at all. And it's there for the people to decide how involved they want to get. People just come along and go to their meeting and do nothing else. Other people progress onto the trustees or subcommittees and help to organise things in their federations. There's lots of opportunity, and it's there to inspire and to teach.
And it is a benevolent organisation, isn't it? And
Yes.
that it does affect change. It does provide
does.
things. We mentioned earlier on the organ donation issue. That was last year's issue, I think.
Last year's resolution, yes it was.
Last year's resolution. This year's resolution.
This year's resolution is about caring. I've got it written down here because it's just been chosen. It was proposed by a WI in North Yorkshire East, and it calls on Her Majesty's Government to remove distinction between nursing care and personal care in the assessment of needs of individuals in order to enhance health and well-being. So that will be discussed at the annual meeting at the Albert Hall and voted on, and then it becomes a mandate. So we have mandates going on from the past.
And that's a very precise, very well-researched, scientific and quite a political issue.
Yes, although we try not to be too political. But we do have all the resolutions that are submitted by members are well researched by solicitors and, all people like that who make sure that we have got the wording right and that there isn't something else being done on the same line. So it is something slightly different.
I get the impression that the WI has its fingers in an awful lot of pies.
Yes.
It is one of the things that binds a nation together.
Yes.
Ladies, thank you so much for coming in. Congratulations on your centenary. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful summer of celebrations.
Thank you.
Very much. Time now to go over to James Dunn for all the sports news.
Hull City's first-choice goalkeeper was on international duty last night for Scotland. Alan McGregor played the second half of their friendly against Northern Ireland, keeping a clean sheet in their 1-0 win. Defender Andrew Robertson was an unused substitute. Both players will be hoping they get the nod to feature in the nation's Euro 2016 qualifier against Gibraltar on Sunday. Former Scunthorpe United defender Kelly Yuga has signed a short-term deal with League One rivals Crawley Town. Crawley are level on points with the Iron, having played a game more, and both just sit 1 point clear of the relegation zone. Hull FC have announced the contract extension of winger Fetuli Talanoa. Having signed at the start of last season, the Tongan featured in all 27 of the Black and Whites games last term and has now put pen to paper on a 2-year deal to see him through to the end of 2017. Hull Stingrays forward Corey Tanaka admits he was lucky not to lose an eye following a freak accident. The Canadian suffered a skate cut over his left eyelid during last Saturday's Elite League clash with the Brayhead clan. The Rays take on the same opponents this weekend in the playoff quarter-final, with Tanaka's participation uncertain. And finally, we've got some Northern Counties League results to bring you from midweek. Barton Town Old Boys won 2-0 at Thackley in the Premier Division, and Louth Town won 3-2 at Drumfield in Division 1. Elsewhere, Winterton Rangers took a point from Teversal, and there was a 4-2 defeat for Grimsby Borough. And don't get the East Riding Senior Cup semi-final takes place tonight at the Roy West Centre. Bridlington Town take on Westella VIP from 7 p.m.
Time now for another Dog of the Week from Sangreet Kennels. You know you want one.
Bo is a Akita Cross Husky, approximately 2 years old. Very lively, castrated, which should slow him down a bit, but this dog will need a really lot of exercise and a lot of companionship, so another one looking for a good home.
If you have a story for us, please go to our Facebook or Twitter pages. Details are on the screen. Email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 31 5553. Until tomorrow, good evening.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. After a cold and bright start with some sunny spells, it will remain mostly dry through the day, but cloud will tend to increase from the west during the afternoon with a maximum temperature of 10 degrees Celsius. Some wet and windy weather expected on Saturday, becoming drier later.